So, what techniques can be used to assess and improve the data quality during a migration?
So I've mentioned this on a few occasions, but to get into it, so the data quality aspects of data can be, there could be multiple aspects to that. So it could be that it's just bad data. So it's names and addresses, it's telephone numbers, it's emails addresses that are just not valid. Okay, so it's not a proper postal address. So if you checked it against postal address file, it wouldn't even match. So somebody's typed it in wrong. There's wrong numbers gone in or whatever, it doesn't exist. Same for phone numbers, same for email addresses, that kind of thing. They could be just completely wrong. So you can check all that. So that can be checked. Those types of things need to be really updated back into your legacy source. So you want to identify them, we want to present them, which we do, and through our tools, we've got our Report-O-Matic tool, which every time the system runs and every single object within that migration runs through its transformation process, we do check for that kind of thing. So we have a whole bunch of checks built in, and we will check for those kinds of errors. Now, they are presented back to business. Business can then see them. Business can then can determine what they want to do about it. Do they need to send out some communications to try and get the correct email address because it don't work anymore? Somebody's changed their email address, whatever. They may have to do that. They may need to get on a phone or whatever. So there's an exercise of fixing that kind of data. That's just one aspect. A lot of the data quality issues that we actually do detect, though, are not that type of issue. They're more to do with the fact that it's going to affect it loading into the target system. So that could be things like orphaned records. So it's a child record, it's an invoice, but it doesn't attach to any customer. So you can't load an invoice, a customer invoice, that don't have a corresponding customer loaded. So there could be a few reasons for that. It could be that it's just plainly an orphaned record. It's coming out of the old system, it's an orphan, you don't know what it tags to. We can't have that. That's meaningless data anyway. Potentially you could go fix it. Most likely you're going to exclude it. It could be, however, where you're excluding the customer for whatever reason, because it's got its own quality issues, but now you can't include those child objects, because if you try to do, they're going to break on load anyway. So we will identify all that kind of thing as well. You probably class it as a knock-on quality issues. So you've had to exclude a master record. It's now got these knock-on impacts. We're excluding all of those childs that will break the load if you try and load them, because you're not loading the master, okay? Because you can't load the master. So we've got to do all that parent-child type checking. So that's important as well. And then there's all the other things like mandatory fields and stuff like that. So that's all target related. So it might not have been a problem in your old legacy, but moving into the new target, it's got a mandatory requirement. And it could be driven by a business rule. So a lot of those types of things are most likely to be fixed by rules. So a customer will generally turn around to us and say, look, thousands of these mandatory fields missing, thousands of these mandatory values missing against this particular field. 50% of records are not loading or not getting through because it's mandatory. We don't have a value for it. I don't want to go through my legacy and start going through 20,000 records, plugging a default in. So that's easy. We would do that. So as part of our field-to-field mapping, we'd identify that particular field, and we'd say, if it's got a null value, then set it to this. That is a business decision as to set that to a default value. And that's okay, so long as we log the fact that we did it. So for us, we recognise that as a severity true error, and we would actually say, right, for all of these records, we've actually set a default. All right, you're not going to do much about it. It's, yeah, brilliant fact. Yeah, fantastic. I wanted you to do it, brilliant. But you know which ones we did. So whenever we manipulate data in that way, we always show what we've done. Audit process purposes, right? Anybody coming in wanting to know what's happened, why did that value get there? We know why it got there. because it's in the DQs.